Hi Trudy, how are you?
I'm good, David, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name's Trudy Cowan. I'm the programme leader for the children's nursing out at Derby and also the assistant discipline lead for adult and child.
Brilliant. Can you give us a sort of a brief overview of your career so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been nursing for just short of 30 years, and my career spans from working all in a children's area because I'm a children's nurse. So I've worked at district general hospitals and at children's hospitals. That has ranged from medical isolation to community, child and adolescent mental health areas, sexual health, a whole range. And then probably 10 years into my career, I realised that the community was the place I'd like to be. I realised that children spend a limited amount of time in hospital, thankfully, although the hospitals that I've worked in have all been brilliant, but children spend their lives out in the community. And definitely the links that I had with children's teams and the families, that's where I wanted to be. So I joined a school health team. I was really lucky to be able to start working out in a school nursing team, linked in with health visitors, health promotion teams, etc. And from there my teaching element came more into the fore, and I came across a lecturing role for school nursing at Derby some 11 years ago now. Applied for that and obviously came across to Derby. And we've got the new children's nursing programme that started in September, and so I moved over to the pre-registration team just this last year, so I'm feeling very well, thank you.
Glad you're enjoying it. Can you tell us about a patient or a clinical story that you won't ever forget?
Probably my first one was I did my training out at Sheffield Children's, and there was a little boy who had Hirschsprungs. He was only 3, and he was part of a large family, and his family weren't able to get to the hospital as often as they would have liked to have done, and it was over the Christmas period. It was a time, not quite as old as Florence, but it was a time when winters were really winter and there was lots of snow. And for those that might know Sheffield Children's, it was the big, it's obviously still there, the big windows. And so this little boy used to sit in these big windows and look out, ready for the buses coming up, ready for his mum to come out. And we weren't sure whether or not they'd be coming because mum, during those days, they didn't have telephones, etc. So we weren't able to get hold of mum always. And it used to break my heart that he'd sit in the window and look for his mum to come. And so distraction and play obviously was to the fore, and we had to make the most of things. And I can remember this mum coming in and me having a conversation with her, and her saying, "I've got 6 other children at home, Trudy. It takes me all day to be able to get here," because she lived out of area, because obviously it was a specialist surgery that he'd undertaken, etc. And she was beside herself that this little boy was going to be on his own at Christmas. And I can remember saying to my family, "We are going up there at Christmas." And so she wanted for him to have, his presents to be opened, etc. And I can remember going up there with my family and taking pictures and giving those pictures to mum when she could get back in after the Christmas period. But yeah, I'm definitely privileged to have been part of so many different children's lives and their families, and try to make things a little bit better.
Okay, so if you were going to a desert island, what 3 things would you take with you and why?
It's a difficult one. My first one, purely simply because I've been stuck at home, my first one would always be Jaffa cakes. David, I do apologise. Jaffa cakes is clearly a must, a need, go-to item. So I'd probably take that. I'm not bothered about the technology, so I probably wouldn't want to take a phone. Your next one's always going to be your family, and definitely I'll not let my family watch this one we've done, because they'll say, "Why did Jaffa cakes come before us?" But yeah, family, and I love my dogs, so it would be my family, my dogs, and the Jaffa cakes.
So finally, how would your best friend describe you?
Probably mad. I would hope that she would say kind, and she'd definitely say sometimes talks before she thinks, just because she tells me this often.
I'm not going to comment on that.
No, probably best not to. So yeah, throughout my years, you'd have thought I would have learnt from this, but it's probably just part of my DNA, and I probably won't ever learn from that.
Well, that's brilliant. I'm glad you were able to think before you were able to answer these questions.
Well, clearly not for the Jaffa cake question, eh?
It's been brilliant talking to you, Trudy. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you.
See you soon.